How's it going? This is a little video just to help people that might be having a problem getting started with Gregtech 6. Show them a little tips that they may not know and give them a little help. So, first off, this is your smeltery. This is what you're going to basically start with. You're going to need your crucible, a mold, and a burning box. Now, typically your first burning box will be lead or bismuth. You can make the bronze one, but the lead one is usually a good place to start. It's very inefficient on its burning and creating heat. Now, because of that, it's going to burn up your fuel more often, but that means that you're going to get more dark ash, which you'll need later on for smelting iron. So I typically try to keep a lead burning box as long as I can handle it. Bismuth is about the same. Bismuth, there are no veins for it. You only find it up high in the mountains. It'll do a little bit more energy output than the lead and real close to the same efficiency. Now, the one that I'm going to be using today is bronze, which is another one that you can make early on. It does more heat and more efficient, but that means it's going to smelt things quicker. So when you're first starting, lead or bismuth is going to be best. Now, if you're out picking up small ores and stuff, you're going to find these impure piles, and you will also find the crushed ore like this here. And here is a bismuth right here. We'll go ahead and use this. Now, you can throw either of these, the crushed or the impure, in, but there's a difference. Crushed is basically just crushed up rock. So when you throw this in here, you're going to get stone scrap along with the metal. And if you smelt it just like this, you're going to have the stone scrap trying to heat up as well. And if you look at stone scrap, it says melts at 1000, boils at 2000. So you're not going to be able to tell if you're doing something like tin that it's melted yet until it hits 1000. So it's best off to use a unheated crucible like this and just skim this off of here. You should get 9 every time. Now, the stone scrap can be used to make stone tools. Throw this in here. And now if we dig this out, there's going to be bismuth 11 nuggets worth, 11 scrap. So then you can throw all but 2 of that in, and that'll give you 1 ingot of bismuth. Now, the dust has no stone in it. It is just the metal. So you have less to worry about of not being able to see exactly what's in it. So now if I come up here and pull this out, it'll be exactly 9 gold. Now, gold is a much denser metal than most others. It will take longer to smelt. You'll see it only has a melting temperature of 1337, where something like bismuth is 544. But it will take even longer than what iron would, which is 1811, because of how dense it is. You see the weight, 238, and this one's weight is because it's 4 pieces, but it's a lot denser. So basically, you have different choices for your fuel as well. Most people will use coal or charcoal, and you can use it as a dust, as a impure dust, as the actual item, as a purified or a crushed. And if you want to know if it'll work, walk up and try to stick it in. If it goes in, it'll take it. Saplings will also work. Sticks will also work. You can use planks. You can use logs. I don't have any of them to show you. And each one of them have a different burn value. I prefer early on to use lignite coal, sapling sticks, planks, things like that, because you don't have to worry about it getting too hot and not burning off. Which brings me to the next thing. You can stop a burning box from heating up and burning the next fuel. It will continue to burn whatever is in there. But the next one that it tries to light, if it's blocked, it will not light. It has to have an air block here. That means no glass, no pipe, nothing. It has to be a pure air block. Now, what I typically do is just keep a piece of cobblestone on me, plop that down in front, and that'll turn it off for the next piece of fuel. But what you can also do is set up this little trigger system right here. Now, all this is a lever with one dot of redstone underneath it. That way the redstone signal is going into the block and activating that redstone. And then there's a sticky piston facing straight up right here. So you just dig down an extra block, jump up, place it. That'll put it in the upwards position. And then just put a block on top of it. And then you don't have to worry about losing your durability on your tools to keep breaking the block over and over and over. You also will need to light this. There are different ways to do it. One of the easiest ways is to make a flint and tinder with iron. The way to do that is to go out at night fighting zombies and trying to get the rare iron ingot drop and then turn that into nuggets. And if you look at flint and tinder here, you can use basically any kind of iron or steel material. There's the iron nugget one. You can also use quartz. Thaumium works. You can use nether quartz. Now these are very low durability. If you look at the nether quartz, it's only 800 durability, where the regular iron is 6400 durability. Wrought iron, which is just smelting the iron a little bit longer for after you actually smelt it, which you can throw iron into the crucible if you get it from a zombie and heat it up to 2011, and that'll turn it to wrought iron, and then it's 9600. And then your regular steel, let's see if I can find it here, is 32,000. Oh, wait a minute. I thought that was wrong. That's regular steel. Or that's Damascus steel. That is going to be crazy high. Where is the regular steel one? Hello? Oh, wait a minute. Regular steel makes flint and steel. Keep forgetting that. and then you can shapelessly craft it into the steel flint and tinder, which is 128 or 12,800. And you definitely want to do that because it has more durability when it's a flint and tinder than a flint and steel. Back to the quartz. You can use quartzite, you can use Certus quartz. They're all 800. Now, with the 30% light chance that they have, there's a chance that you're going to use an entire flint and tinder made with quartz and not get it to light. So quartz is your worst option. Now, you can also use chipped jasper. This was changed. It used to be an actual jasper gem, which was harder to get. Chipped is much easier to get a hold of, and that is 6,400 as well. That is a very good option. These can be found as small gems or small ores out in the world, around sea level, around mountainous areas, things like that. Also, if you can find a mine shaft or a dungeon or a Gregtech stronghold, anything that has loot chests, you can get these matchboxes. Matchboxes come full, and they are a guaranteed light every time you strike them, and you have 16 uses. So those are very useful. Village blacksmiths are also a very good place to find them. And then a much rarer chance is you can either find a regular lighter like this, which this one's now empty, or a shiny lighter, which is made of platinum. And they have like 2,000 uses on them, or 200 uses on them. Can't remember which one it is. It's been a while since I've had any fuel in mine. And they're guaranteed light every time as well. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here and show you what I was talking about with the lighting and shutting it off here. Lignite coal is the longest burning of any of these that I have mentioned. Sticks and saplings being about the same. Planks are going to be somewhere in between. Now, if you're interested in the exact burn time, you can figure that out. I tend to like to do this just by throwing it in, starting it up. Now, because we have an exact type of thing in there and don't have to worry about if it is or if it isn't, see, change. Now all we have to do is hit that, and when it gets done burning that off, it's going to be done. And you know that you have your bismuth. Now, once it turns to that, it's solidified and can be grabbed, but it'll burn you. So I typically count to 10 for anything under 2,000. Anything above 2,000, count a little bit longer. But then you can grab it out, and you have your bismuth. Now, I'm making rods, so I get 2 of them. Almost every material or any tool you would need has a mold. So you don't have to worry about making gears, item casings, pickaxes, any of those things the way that costs you more material. You can make hammers, gears, ingots, axes, let's see, sticks and rods, shovels, chisels, all those different things. There are books that you can find also as loot, these right here, and one of them is the Crucible book. And let's see, always got to hit to the left. This is the random information. See if I can find the right one here. This is the large period book. That's all your information about every material in Gregtech at the time that you opened it. This is a Crucible manual, so I'll explain to you some of the basics of using a Crucible. And heat source, Crucible itself, the molds, how to chisel them, and then smelting itself. And then you get to shaping your mold. Now, you have every different one here, shows you what to take out, what to leave in, and you can either pause at the page in the book as I'm going through here, or try to find one of these yourself. I do believe the Gregtech 6 wiki also has most of, if not all of these on there. And this will be very important information to have. Item casings is one that if you do it with a hammer, there's going to be a loss, just like with plates. If you played with Gregtech 5, you'll know all about that. Rings is another one that has a loss to it. Gears as well. And if you pour it, there's no loss whatsoever. So you definitely want to pour them. The tools like the sword, pickaxe, shovel, spade, axe, double axe, saw, they will come out in a raw form. So you will need a file to file off the molding marks, basically, for it to be used. So you won't be able to put it on a stick until you do that. Now, there is also a thing called a grindstone. I always call it a sharpener. And if you make this, once you get some steel, you can make it with long steel rods ×4, a regular steel rod, and 3 double steel plates, and you'll need a wrench. And you put sandstone in it and rub your tool against it with right click, and that will give you a 90% chance of getting the dust off of it when you sharpen it, where with a file you do not. With a file, it uses its durability. With this, it just uses up the sandstone after a while. So that's another good idea to get early on. And you'll see I put in 2, but I only got 1 dark ash out. That's because the other one is still in there. It did not burn because I got this turned off ahead of time. Another good trick to remember when smelting early on, especially with the bismuth and the lead's burning boxes, do not put very much material in there. One mistake I made early on that you might make as well is trying to fill the crucible up, and then it does absolutely nothing because there's too much material for the efficiency of the burning box to be able to heat it up. Even with this bronze one, if you fill this up to 16, it's going to take forever to smelt because of the weight of the material that it's got to add that heat to. It'll take longer. So the less you have in it, the quicker it will heat up. Eventually, you will want to get a pair of pincers made. That's these right here. These will allow you to grab the material out of the mold as soon as it hits where it's solidified. You just right click on the mold, it'll pop it out. It'll take a little bit of durability, and they're not very difficult to make. You just need a screw, 2 rods, 2 curved plates. Screw being 2 bolts that are filed, which can either be cut from a single rod or there's a mold for them. Curved plates being a regular plate around a bending cylinder with a hammer will make your curve plate, and a bending cylinder is just about any ingot with a saw, a file, and a hammer. There are two bending cylinders. There's small bending cylinders and large bending cylinders. Some things like rings will take the small, or small springs will take the small, where the curved plates takes the large one. So make sure you know which one you need when you do it. And then after that, you can get a hazmat suit, which will negate the heat as well. It doesn't take durability, so you won't waste it out like you will your pincers, but you will need rubber and iron to make it. So that'll be a little bit later on. You can also use heat potions, heat resistance potions. These right here, fire resist potions. If you drink one of these before you smelt, it will negate that fire burning when you grab it out as well. And one of the first things you're going to want to make is one of these, which is a thermostat. This is my smelting rig that I use. As I said, I typically don't use the lever thing. I just have a block that I put down in front. This is basically the most advanced without going to electricity and without having redstone set up to auto pour and things like that. I do have a video about setting those things up if you're interested. The how to automate steel shows how to do the auto pouring and things like that. But this is a tungsten crucible with a tungsten burning box, so it can heat basically any material up that needs 5000 K or less, and it heats up at a pretty good speed because tungsten is about the highest you can get for heat units without going to the dense burning boxes, and it heats up relatively quickly. But you'll want to get a thermostat or thermometer very quickly. This will give you a readout of how much heat is being burnt. And I apparently still have some charcoal in there, so we'll light it up, and you can see it gives you a nice visual readout, shows you how much is in there heat wise, so you know when to turn it off. These will melt down at 2500 degrees, so you can do up to like steel and vanadium, which is actually the crucible I make next, which is this one. I do have a certain series that I usually do, but there are very drastic amounts of different crucibles you can make, I guess. There's a large variety of them. You don't have to start with ceramic. You could start with stone, but it'll melt down at 1250, so you can't really make too much material in that. You can do lead, bismuth, copper. I do believe you can do copper in that. Your bronze is going to be a bit too high. Actually, I think copper is 1250. See, or 1257. Let me look it up real quick. Now, copper, lead, things like that, you can actually. Okay, yeah, copper is 1357. So yeah, you can't do that in the stone one either. But copper, lead, bismuth, tin, those all can be done in a furnace. I prefer not to do them that way because I like to get my dark ash, so I like to use a crucible. Also am one of the people that like more realistic type of ways of doing it, and if I have to smelt down the rest of my metal, I should have to smelt down those as well. This has got a hopper set up. You put a hopper underneath the mold, it'll automatically pull it out when it's cooled down, and it'll place it in the chest that it's connected to. So this will automatically drop them right into this box when they're done. The thermometer, you won't have to do anything to it when you place it. Just make it and place it on the crucible. You can change the facing of it with a monkey wrench. There we go. Thermometer sensor, it needs double tin alloy plates. Do not let these confuse you. They will say tin plate because of Railcraft when you get them out, but if you use the F3H, which is what I'm using, that shows the melt, boil, weight, and contains down there, you can see it says units of tin alloy. That is because to make a tin plate with Railcraft, it's 2 iron and 2 tin, and that gives you 4 plates. So it will say tin alloy, or it will say tin plate, but it is tin alloy. Put 2 of them together, you get you a double tin alloy plate. Yes, my textures are a little different. These are the old textures because I don't like the Railcraft looking textures that Greg went to, but they're the same thing and they all work. Tin alloy is basically wrought iron, which is just iron smelted a little longer up to 2011 and then tin added to it. It is best, I found, if you don't have a thermometer, to throw the iron in first, because you will see the change from regular iron to wrought iron. It'll get kind of a beigeish color to it rather than a silverish color to it. That's how you'll know that it's right at 2011. You can plop your block down or hit your lever, turn off the power, drop the tin in, and it'll automatically be tin alloy and be ready to pour. If you throw the tin in with the iron at the beginning, it's always going to look that silverish color because the tin will be on top because it's a lighter weight. And you'll never really know when it changes to tin alloy, and you might burn up your crucible. So always let it go to wrought iron first so you know you're at the right temperature, then throw in your tin. You'll also need to make some fine red alloy wire, which is just red alloy bent and things, bent and smashed and cut, but it is basically just copper and 4 redstone. So you throw in 1 unit of copper, 9 tiny scrap or whatever, 1 dust of ingot, or 1 dust of copper, 4 redstone, and you get 1 red alloy. You can tell when this is done because the amount of material in here will drop down, because when you throw it in, you will have 5 units of material in there, and then when it turns to the red alloy, it'll go down to 1 material worth of stuff in there, because the redstone infuses onto the copper and you lose that weight of material. So if you watch it real close, you'll see it drop down in the crucible. That's when you know you're at the right temperature. So I think that's about all the hints, tips, tricks I can give you for early on smelting. Good luck, have fun. Be careful, you will probably melt these down. Always, always, always empty your inventory before you get started of anything you have valuable or you're not willing to lose until you get a thermometer, because when these burn up, they will kill you. They will spawn fire around. Sometimes you'll even get lava on top where the crucible was that'll pour off. You'll have a bad day. So if you don't want to lose it, don't hold it in your inventory while you're smelting. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave me a message. I'll be glad to help you out or pass it along. Have a great day.